Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, the Other, and this is a theme song from a 1950s sitcom called The Goldbergs. No connection to the current version of The Goldbergs on television. This show came out as a radio show, 1929, ran from 1929 to 1946, and a woman by the name of Gertrude Berg wrote and directed the episodes. The show was on television from 1949 to 1956, and she was called Molly Goldberg on the show, and that was a name that seemed to kind of stick with her. It was about a domestic comedy featuring the home life of a Jewish family living in the Bronx, New York. On the episodes, until like maybe the last couple of seasons, they lived in an apartment, and it'd be like, "You, Molly," and they'd be calling each other from the windows. There'd be a window in the middle and a window across the way. Two other women would appear, and they would talk to each other through their windows. I guess that's what city life was like back in the days. Last couple of seasons, they finally moved to the suburbs of Long Island, New York, and into a house. But on that show, Philip Loeb played her husband, Jake Goldberg, and actually part of the husband was played by three different actors. He left the show, and then Harold Stone played the part, and then Robert H. Harris. Eli Mintz played Uncle David. Arlie McQuaid played the daughter. Larry Robinson played the son, and then Tom Taylor replaced him for the role of Molly's son, who was beginning the show, I guess, was a high school student. Later on, was a college student, and on the older shows, all the way up until at least 1954, you would see Gertrude Berg doing commercials for whatever the sponsor was. In 1949, sponsor was Sanka Coffee, and later on there was a vitamin that was a sponsor back in 1954. Sponsor was Ributol vitamins, and she would do those commercials herself, discuss the product. Some of the episodes that they show on YouTube have been colorized, and trying to get a little more information on this show. It was the mother was a kindly lady, and she was actually very, very talented. I had never heard of the show until like back in the late 70s, when they were running History of Television, and they showed some footage of that show. But I mean, it was on at the same time when you had like I Love Lucy and some of the other. You had, who else? Who was that woman? Ira Miss Brooks, Eve Arden. Those kinds of shows. I Married Joan, another one, Joan Davis. All those types of shows were on. So, I mean, I definitely think she could have been a rival to Lucy. She didn't obviously didn't acquire this same amount of fame as Lucille Ball did, but show was, I thought was nice. It was a nice, clean show about a family in Bronx, New York, 1950s. I've enjoyed watching it. After it went off the air in 1956, she later returned to television for 6 years in a situated comedy called Mrs. G Goes to College, playing Sarah Green, a Molly Goldberg-like character. So basically, I guess, she does a part where she's an older woman being a college student, I guess, with the same type of character she had on that television show. The show was on different networks carry that show. CBS did for a while. Um, NBC, Dumont. It says most of the Dumont episodes survive at the UCLA Film and Television Archive, while 39 filmed episodes survive intact. So that's interesting. I have watched some of the episodes on YouTube, and I've enjoyed what I've seen of it. And there's another story about Philip Loeb or Lube that played her husband on the show, and what happened to him. I mean, you can look that up on YouTube. The stories. I'm not YouTube. I'm sorry. You can look it up on the internet and Google Philip Loeb, Loeb, and tell the story about what happened to him. But he did play the husband at the very beginning of the show, and he was. Remember, he was in the garment industry, and he was a businessman, pretty much the head of the house more so than the other men that played on the show. In my opinion, he's a more authoritative figure. The others were more gentlemanly. That's just my opinion. But I enjoyed watching the show, and we'll be checking out some more episodes of it as time permits. And like I've said, my show is about history, preserving history, especially obscure aspects of history. And with that being said, like, subscribe, share. As always, thanks for watching.